Good evening and welcome to this week's edition of StormCast. I'm your host, Joey Pisani, and we are so glad to have you along with us tonight. I know it's been a couple weeks. We also have Dan Cluine with us. So he sent in a video recently was showing some of the snow. So that's going to kind of be our topic tonight. We're going to be talking about some of the snow we've seen. Hold on one second. There we go. Sorry about that. But we're going to be talking about the snow, what we're going to be looking forward ahead toward Christmas. Also want to kind of get in a little bit of a discussion about what exactly is the polar vortex, because, a lot of people around this time of year kind of start wondering what that is. So we're going to delve into that a little bit tonight in tonight's discussion. But first, Dan, how's your week been? How's things been up there in Wisconsin? I know you sent in your recent weather break a couple days ago. So tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so up here it's been, we're in a bit of a cold snap now. It's been maintaining below freezing. But we did have some snow come through last couple of days, the day before and yesterday. They were predicting between 7 to 10 inches by the time it was all done, and I would say they're pretty much right on it with that. In fact, I have a graphic here that I can show you, and it'll show you exactly how much that we had across my part of the state down in southeast Wisconsin. The heaviest snow totals were towards the southeast, as you can see along the Illinois border, up through Racine, Kenosha, and Milwaukee counties up against the lake. And as you move west, as you move northwest, some of the totals started to taper off, 6 to 8 around Madison, and a bit less as you move north and west.
Looks
right
like
now,
downtown Madison actually got the 8 to 10 inch range there with that darker yellow.
Yeah, it looks like they had a little bit of a burst there, and that's what makes, as you, I'm sure, are well aware of, snow prediction is probably the hardest thing in meteorology to predict because there's so many variables that are occurring. But this one they pretty much got. Right now it's about 19 degrees, and we're going to continue to go colder as we move along through the week. On Thursday, our predicted high will be 8.
Wow. What's your low for Thursday morning or Thursday evening that day with your high of 8?
0.
8 and 0. There you go, folks.
8 to 0.
And that brings up an excellent point, something I also wanted to get to talk with you guys about tonight. And that is not only are we going to have these really cold temperatures these next couple of days, but we actually have wind chill advisories in effect for much of the northern part of the country, for much of northern Montana, basically the entire state of North Dakota, much of eastern and northern South Dakota, all of western Minnesota and northern Minnesota. This does not include the Minneapolis-St. Paul area, and also the northern counties, some of the north and northwestern counties there of Iowa, all under a wind chill advisory for those regions through tomorrow. And Dan even pointed something out, that up here in the upper peninsula of Michigan, we actually have a blizzard warning. This does include the Houghton area there in the UP of Michigan. So could still see some blizzard conditions there through the overnight hours there in the UP of Michigan. So if you're in those areas, definitely be prepared for some of those whiteout conditions.
And I have here on display the warnings map, so you can kind of see exactly where he's talking about. Those are all our active advisories and warnings right now, and that little bit of red way at the top there in the UP. That's what we're talking about right there.
Yep. And also across much of southern Idaho, a lot of Oregon, we have winter storm watches. In effect, that's that next storm system that's going to be starting to ramp up tomorrow, and then that's going to be moving off to the east over the next couple of days. So we'll probably by tomorrow and the next day really start to see those winter storm watches and warnings going up for places like Colorado into the Dakotas. And that's going to be all moving off to the east over the next few days. Doesn't look like it's going to be a huge snowmaker, but still going to be adding some more snow on top of what we've already seen. Speaking of snow, let's take a look at, what we're looking at for Christmas. Christmas is less than 2 weeks away. Dan, have you gotten all of your holiday shopping done?
No. Most of it.
Honest man right there for you folks. So if you haven't gotten all of your holiday shopping done, what you're probably missing from your gift list is a brand new Extreme Weather Videos t-shirt, which you can get online at our website, extremeweathervideos.com. Click on shop and it'll take you there. We've got t-shirts, hoodies, sweatshirts. We got a lot of options there for you, mugs, all that good stuff. So make sure to head over there this holiday season to check out some of our new items. But going back into what we're looking at for this Christmas, this is brought to you by weather.com. White Christmas predictions are in, so let's take a look here at what we're looking at for White Christmas. Obviously here in Georgia, probably not going to see a White Christmas. The last time I had a White Christmas here in Georgia was back in 2013. We had a White Christmas. So here's a graphic that they provided. So likely chance of seeing a White Christmas. Much of the northern half of New York, Vermont up through northern Maine, likely. Possible White Christmas down into some of the northern Appalachian Mountains here, stretching back across Chicago, northern Indiana, northern Ohio. Wisconsin, Dan, you're definitely likely going to have a White Christmas there. Michigan.
I know what our average is.
So what's your average?
For the city of Milwaukee, it is right about 51%.
50-50, 51% for them to have White Christmas. I think here in Atlanta, it's probably about 12%, something like that. But you can see a large area of the east and south not expecting to have a White Christmas this year. So basically just the northern third of the country this year, and then into the Rocky Mountains, of course. Maybe getting down into Arizona, northeast Arizona, Utah, northwest, New Mexico. But if you live in Oklahoma, sorry, not going to see White Christmas this year. So better luck for 2017. Better luck for 2017. So good evening there, Grady.
Hey, what's going on?
Not a whole lot, just talking about Christmas and snow and Christmas and polar vortexes. How's things been out there in Memphis, Tennessee area?
That's awesome. I didn't know if I was able to join, but went through okay. So it's good to see it. See it on tonight.
Yeah, good to see you too there, buddy. For sure. Speaking of Tennessee, going back to this graphic, probably not going to see a White Christmas there in Memphis this year. I know they had I know Western Tennessee had a little bit of snow mixture going in the other day. Last night, I believe they had a little bit of mix. So, but that is that. One thing,
Actually, I stand corrected. I have to correct. According to AccuWeather, Milwaukee has a 47%.
47. Where did they have the 51% chance?
51% was a number that I recalled hearing before.
Gotcha. But AccuWeather said 47%.
But now I'm seeing it's 47%, so maybe it's changed in the last couple of years. I don't know.
Awesome.
Just want to
Well,
make sure we get the most accurate information. I don't want to misquote. So
exactly. Another thing I wanted to get to talk about tonight that a lot of people start hearing around this time of year is the polar vortex. So, what is the polar vortex? Where does it come from? Is it actually a vortex or is it not a vortex? Excellent question. So, there is such a thing as the polar vortex. Basically, it originates near the poles. There's one at the North Pole and one at the South Pole. But what happens is the jet stream actually kind of captures part of the polar vortex, and it will kind of merge together with the jet stream, and it dips down across typically the northern part of the country. It surges south. So as per the National Weather Service, here's the official definition of the polar vortex. So everyone, have your listening ears on for the next 2 minutes. The polar vortex is a large area of low pressure and cold air surrounding both of the Earth's poles. It always exists near the poles at all times of the year, but weakens in summer and strengthens in winter. The term vortex refers to the counterclockwise flow of air that helps keep the colder air near the poles. Many times during the winter in the northern hemisphere, the polar vortex will expand and contract, sending cold shots of air southward with the jet stream, which is what I referred to above. That's why sometimes we get those, really cold shots of air where we can see wind chill temperatures in the -20s or 30s, or even like we saw a couple of years ago. I know up in Minnesota, they were having wind chills and temperatures near -60. That's all in association with the polar vortex. It occurs fairly regularly during the wintertime and is often associated with large outbreaks of Arctic air in the United States. The one that occurred in January 2014 is similar to many other cold outbreaks that have occurred in the past, including several notable cold outbreaks, such as the one in 1977, 82, 85, and 89. There are several things that the polar vortex is not. Polar vortexes are not something new. Again, they've always existed. But they have recently become popularized, much in thanks probably to social media, and the hype train and all that stuff that you hear about, which brings attention to this weather feature a lot more nowadays than it had been in the past. It's also, the polar vortex is not a feature that exists at the Earth's surface. Again, it's associated with the jet stream, so we're talking about the upper levels of the atmosphere, typically 300 millibars or above, roughly. Basically, the polar vortex also is not only confined to the United States. We can feel, people even in Europe feel the effects of the polar vortex, and also northern Asia. Think of Siberia. Yes, they do get to experience the polar vortex as well. Again, it just really depends on the strength and magnitude of the jet stream as to how far south the cold air from the polar vortex expands. The stronger the jet stream, the colder the temperatures will be. Again, sometimes the jet stream may only, dip into the central United States. Sometimes it gets all the way down into Florida, like we saw in 2014, where we were seeing those -60 degree wind chills and such up in the northern plains. So again, whenever you hear about the polar vortex, don't be alarmed, but be prepared for colder than typical temperatures. Always check the forecast area from your local National Weather Service office at weather.gov and be dressed appropriately. Heed all, wind chill watches and warnings because frostbite can occur quickly. And we want to make sure that everyone stays safe with these bitter cold temperatures. Dan, tell me a little bit about what the polar vortex was like for you guys up in Wisconsin back in 2014. What were temperatures there in your area?
Cold. No, I mean, it was news when it got above zero. I mean, it can get pretty cold. I remember it getting pretty cold. The thing about it up here is that it's, I mean, in winter it's typical, you know, and our weather has a tendency to really switch like a light switch. I mean, back in even late November, only a few weeks ago, it was up to 50 degrees. And then wind started coming from the north, and it's a 30-40 degree temperature swing just like that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, a couple of years ago, that's when the term polar vortex was really taken off, and a lot of people started talking about it. But
Mm-hmm.
for me, for someone who pays attention to weather and who's into weather, and that's just a hobby, I didn't really notice that big of a difference. I mean,
From your typical.
not really, no. Um, yeah, that's just to be expected around here. Now, maybe it affected people further to the south, or if you're in an area that typically doesn't see cold weather,
Yeah,
or
say
at
like
least that cold
Chicago or
weather,
something like that, or maybe even, portions of,
then it became a bigger
Indianapolis or something like
story.
that. I remember,
You,
some of those cities, obviously we're seeing a lot colder temperatures
yeah,
than they usually do. So
there comes a point where it just doesn't matter. It's so cold that
like
it is what it
-80
is.
and
But
-50, what's the difference?
not much. No, no.
Exactly. Definitely want to thank you for joining us tonight. As always, be sure to subscribe right here to our YouTube page. We're going to be putting out a lot more weather breaks in the coming weeks, so make sure you follow up with those. Also want to let you guys know that we're going to be posting a little thank you Christmas video from the team, so keep your eyes open for that in the coming weeks. Hope you guys all have a safe and hopefully a white Christmas for some of you. Some of you may not want the white Christmas. If you're in Hawaii, you probably don't want a white Christmas. If you're watching this from the beaches of Miami, you probably don't want a white Christmas. But if you do, I hope you get it. I hope you guys have a great holiday season, and we'll definitely be back in 2017 with a lot more weather to talk about. We're going to take a break from the StormCast here for the next 2 weeks. So we should be back with our first StormCast, hopefully, of 2017, that first week there of January. So we'll keep an eye to our Facebook page. We'll be announcing the exact date when that will be. But again, thank you guys for all your support, and stay safe out there.